Okay, guys, this is a video I've been really excited to share with you. It's an implementation of the MetaEngine in Orchestra for designing and running metadata-driven pipelines that are really, really powerful. So in this case, I've actually got a three-step pipeline. So I'm loading data from Google Sheets into Snowflake using DLT. I'm then going to run some data quality checks, but this could be like a Snowflake SQL statement that is loading data from maybe like an external stage like S3 into Snowflake. And then after all of that happens, I'm going to run dbt. But this has the meta engine. And what that means is you can effectively parallelize this across hundreds or thousands of tasks. So if you have many similar tables and you want to spin up containers for all of these processes like separately, you can. Okay, let's take a look at the DLT script. The DLT script is actually really simple. You can see that all we're doing is calling this file, but all this file does is call this function. This function calls this guy. And essentially you can see that there are a few parameters here, like the spreadsheet URL, the range name, the table name. You can have a similar function here that's copying data from like a SQL server where you're basically passing in all of these different parameters, but the actual underlying code being used is exactly the same. The next thing to take a look at is the data quality test. This is just a really simple one. I'm just saying, hey, make sure there is some data in this table. But if you wanted to make it, more complicated, you could do something like take the current time, for example, and you could say, well, get me everything from here, but also where, the date equals the date of the current time, something like that. After we've done all of that, we're going to run dbt. But before we look at that, let's take a look at the matrix. The matrix allows you to put in like lists of objects that you can then pass in to the jobs themselves. And this is what allows you to do the parallelization. You can see as well, you can toggle the order of the matrix. So if you want these things to like run in parallel, then you have it this way. And if you want them to run sequentially, then you do it like that. If we take a look at this Python script, you'll see that we're passing in the names of the sheets, the tables, and then the range, which is constant. This is a little bit easier to see in code, and this is normally what we recommend. So you'll see here that the matrix is just defined as like a list. So if you then needed to add another value, you can just add 2 more lines of code. And you'll see here that the matrix actually gets applied not just to the Google Sheet, but also to the Snowflake test. Okay, let's run it and see what we get. Okay, so we can see that we have successfully parameterized all of our tasks. dbt has failed, but that's okay. So in this Python task, you can see we've got all the logs, but interestingly, if you take a look at the parameters, you'll see that, in this environment variables JSON, we are running a table called social leads. And then in this one, you'll see we're actually running a different table called dbt leads. And these values have also been passed through to the test. So if you take a look at this test, we're checking the dbt leads table, and then similarly, we'll be checking the social leads table up here. So this is like a really powerful pattern, like it's a really powerful piece of functionality. If you have like a set of keys, which are going to be constant, and you want to be able to apply potentially like uniform but maybe slightly different logic to the same table as it sort of runs through, you can do that with the meta engine, sort of like this. And then when you need to start stitching stuff together, you can start running dbt, you can start running stored procedures, you can start running whenever you want. But that's what I wanted to show you today. Super, super, super powerful. And yeah, please feel free to like and repost.